Get ready to choose a side because this issue really touches a nerve. With the recent NAR settlement, many sellers have been asking us, do I still need to offer a buyer's agent commission when I list and sell my Summit County property? You may not like what I have to say, but stick around because we're going to tackle this thorny issue next. Hey, it's Pete Deininger with the Breck Life Group right here in Breckenridge. And before I get into the 3 reasons why I think it's in your best interests as a seller to incentivize buyer's agents to show your home, I want to address 2 important topics. First of all, media reporting on the National Association of Realtors settlement has been widely inaccurate, horrible in some cases. And really, it's 2 things that I've seen misrepresented. Number 1, a statement that I have seen from nearly every media outlet is that buyer's agent commissions are now negotiable. Buyer's agent commissions, at least in the state of Colorado, have always been negotiable. I've been in business 15 years here in the state of Colorado, and we use a document called the exclusive right to buy. And in that document, it's where I get to establish to the buyer the services I'll provide, the value we'll provide, and in there is a line item called the success fee, which is the amount that we will be compensated for helping them purchase their property. There are 30 plus, I believe it's 32 or 35 states around the country that have never had something like the exclusive right to buy. So Colorado is miles and years ahead of most of the country, but the reporting that buyer agent commissions are now negotiable, at least in the state of Colorado, is a complete misrepresentation. They've always been negotiable here. The second point I want to make before we get started is that you may be familiar with something called for sale by owner, which is where a seller chooses not to hire a listing agent, licensed listing agent, to list and represent their property, and so we would call them for sale by owner. Each year, the National Association of Realtors conducts surveys of home buyers and home sellers to look at the data, how long they were on the market, their list price, did they do any price reductions, all kinds of data, and then they release that in an annual survey. So the most recent survey for the calendar year 2023 showed that the number 1 reason sellers choose to represent themselves is so that they can save money. Now, the example I'm about to give is just an example here. We represent buyers at 3% of sales price, and we like to take our listings at 6%, whereby we offer 3% out to the buyer's agent. So many for sale by owner sellers choose to save the 3% on a listing agent, but they will still offer a buyer's agent that 3% for bringing a buyer to them. So what they're looking to save is 3% of the sales price, and they feel they're putting more money in their pocket. What the 2023 survey of home buyers and home sellers showed was that the typical for sale by owner home, when it sold at 76% of agent represented properties. That is truly the definition of spending $1 to save a nickel. All right, let's get into the 3 reasons why I still feel it's in your best interest to incentivize buyers agents to bring their buyers to see your property. Number 1, setting up and establishing the success fee right up front reduces risks later on. If we have not at the beginning of the transaction established what that buyer's agent is going to be compensated, it could jeopardize the entire transaction, and I'll tell you why. In the state of Colorado, I've already mentioned that we have an exclusive right to buy agency agreement, and that document is where the buyer agrees to work with the buyer's agent and the fee which they will pay them. If I've checked the box as a buyer's agent that says the buyer will pay me, but I will ask the seller to pay my compensation, and if the seller will not, then the buyer has to. This is the box that most buyer's agents in the state of Colorado check, and what this means is we could get through the entire process of inspections and clear all the hurdles, and then the buyer's agent asks you, the seller, to compensate them, possibly jeopardizing the entire transaction. I always feel that it's best to know to the dollar and penny exactly what a buyer's agent will be compensated right up front. Second, establishing a competitive fee helps to sell your home. Just like we want to look at comps on the market to make sure we're competitive with your list price, establishing a competitive fee signals to buyers in the marketplace that you are a serious, dedicated seller looking to sell in the shortest period of time. I can't state it any more simply than that. And number three, offering no fee to buyer's agents comes with some serious risks. The risk really, number one, is that how many buyers are you disqualifying from even seeing your home? Think about what a buyer does in preparation for a purchase. They save and save and save. Here in the resort markets of Summit County and Park County, we often see buyers putting down 20%, 25%, or even 30% of the purchase price, with a loan making up the remainder. If a buyer has to come up with 20, 25, or 30% and then pay out of pocket for buyer's agent representation, it may disqualify them from seeing your home when a competitor that's on the market is offering compensation to the buyer's agent, thereby saving the buyer from having to write that check out of pocket. In addition, if a buyer knows that they're not going to be able to pay their agent out of pocket, they may choose representation from one of a more flat fee brokerages that, and I'm making up the numbers here, I don't know what those entities charge, but let's say it's $1,000 or $10,000. They pay a flat fee up front, and the reason they do so, it's limited service for a limited fee. So you're now, as we go through negotiations, working with a often less experienced agent that doesn't know the contract as well and may be asking for inane requests from you, the seller, as part of this process. I'm reminded of the story of the long established barber who he had years and years of experience and gave exceptional haircuts, and for his service he charged $25 per haircut. And one day he arrived at his shop and looked across the street, and there was a brand new barber shop opening up, and they put a big banner outside that said $10 haircuts. And he noticed that some of his long-time clients were going across the street to save a little bit of money and get a $10 haircut, only within days or weeks to come back to him so that he could correct some of the less experienced shoddy haircuts that they received. And he quickly figured out what his marketing plan was. He put a sign outside that said, "We fix $10 haircuts." The moral here is, I think we want buyers to show up with talented agents that know how to successfully negotiate and work with us to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. As I mentioned, this is a thorny topic. There's no right answer, only what we feel is going to be in the best interest of you, the seller, to get your property marketed, listed, and sold quickly. If you're thinking about selling your Summit County or Park County property, I'm open to a conversation with you to look at this from every angle. Give me a call, send me a text. We are here to help guide and discuss this topic with you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.